Welcome to Season 4 of Your Next Mission video podcast. We have a great show today that focuses on our military families. Chris Davis and Michelle Robinson from the Navy Federal Credit Union join us to talk about how PCS impacts the military family and about the strategy you need when buying a home. You won't want to miss this one. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Your Next Mission video podcast, where we tell the stories of those who have served in the past and those who are serving today. From transition to financial wellness, VA benefits to mental health, we cover issues facing veterans, active military, and their families. Now here's your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army and co-founder of the American Freedom Foundation, Jack L. Tilley.
Hello out there, warriors past and present, and your families, and thank you for your service to our great country. Now, before we get started, I personally want to thank our presenting sponsors, Navy Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, and USAA for making Your Next Mission happen. They love our veterans and families, and I say it every week. We love them too. As I said earlier, we have a great show today focusing on our military families. And I'm excited to introduce from the Navy Federal Credit Union, Chris Davis, Assistant Vice President of Field Mortgage, and Michelle Robinson, Supervisor of Mortgage Origination, who is also a military spouse. Welcome to the show.
So glad to return and looking forward to our discussion today. I was on an episode of Season 3 that aired in January, but this time I came with reinforcements.
I think last time you needed reinforcement. I think Michelle's going to sort of beef you up here a little bit, help you out here.
I feel the pressure, but I'm going to try not to let it get to me. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being on. Hey, before we get started, could you tell the audience a little bit about yourself? And Michelle, we'll start with you.
Sure, yes. My name is Michelle. I have been with Navy Federal Credit Union for almost 10 years now. Started in field mortgage operations, helping with home purchases and some refinances. But Navy Federal, I always knew about it because I am currently with my husband now for 18 years. He just retired from the Marine Corps as a Sergeant Major. So he just hit his 20 and we're really excited. So between the work that I get to do at Navy Federal with our members and the things that I've gone through during life with various PCSs, and home buying experiences, I'm just happy to share what I've learned along the way.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you. Tell your husband thanks a lot for his service, and thank you for your service too. Chris, how about yourself?
Well, I've been at Navy Federal Credit Union now for just about 13 years, but I've been in the home lending industry for over 30. My job at Navy Federal Credit Union is business development with our mortgage originations teams. And that puts me working closely with our realtor and our builder partners, which is something that I really get great satisfaction out of, helping work together with the builders and the realtors in delivering the American dream for our members. My wife and I, we have 3 adult children. And in August, we're going to celebrate our 30-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow. I don't want to call you a rookie, but I've been married quite a bit longer than you have, so, but I tell you what, I think that's the biggest decision I ever made, other than, of course, the Navy Federal Credit Union. The biggest decision I ever made was, selecting the right spouse or her selecting me. I don't think I ever selected anything. Chris, would you tell the audience a little bit about the Navy Federal Credit Union and all the things they're doing, really for their members?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to give you a little bit, our field of membership. Our field of membership is the Department of Defense and the Coast Guard. This includes all service members, all active duty, all veterans. It also includes contractors. And then we always like to say, and of course, it includes their families as well. We have 357 branches worldwide now.
Wow.
We have 23,000 employees worldwide now as well. But those things are good. But what makes Navy Federal Credit Union great is our membership. And really, it's the way that we serve our members. So you can see this logo behind us. We serve where you serve. one of our other slogans mottos is our members are the mission. And that's what makes working at Navy Federal Credit Union so great. And that is what Navy Federal's greatness is. We're member centric. Everything that we do for the members. In the banking industry, banks are there to work for their shareholders, earn a profit. Our shareholders are our members. And so everything that we do, everything that we earn, we get to give back to our members through our programs, through our loans, through the best rates that are out there. And that truly is a great place to work. It's a great mission. And it's a great thing that we get to do for our members.
Now, Chris, I've talked to a lot of people about you, and they say you're really sharp. You know everything that's going on in Navy Federal Credit Union. I got one question. I'd be surprised if you can answer. Can you tell me all the first names of all the 23,000 people that you have in your organization?
I wish I could. I wish I could tell you the names right here in my building. But, walking around on this campus, there's 8 buildings on this campus. And walking around on this campus, to me, it's just so fun to, see everybody, say hi, what a great social place it is to work. What a great facility that we work in. They're worldwide. They're all over the place. I love them all, whether I've met them or not so far. We share that common bond and that mission.
I just see by your personality, you're a friendly kind of person anyway, and really want to do all you can for our veterans in the military, spouse and stuff. Michelle, you want to add anything to that, what Chris said there?
Really, what I want to add to what Chris said is truly our members are the mission. And it's really neat coming from both sides as an employee, but also as a military family to a veteran, is how much Navy Federal has to offer and how much support they can offer through various changes in a service member or their family's lives, whether it be buying a house or you need a checking savings. They're everywhere. And they're always there to help you and be a trusted advisor. So I love that I can experience both sides of it from the member standpoint and also from the employee standpoint on everything we can offer for.
Yeah, I think I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think you bring a tremendous asset to Navy Federal Credit Union because you have been on both sides. You've been on the military side with your spouse, and now with Navy Federal Credit Union. Michelle, you mentioned it just a second ago. What advice would you give military families regarding PCS or ETS and pertaining to buying a home? I know I went through that. It was really difficult for myself. How about yourself? Any advice that you would give to family members? Or
the biggest piece of advice that I would say is really kind of starting out with your target. So whether it be a PCS, you get a new duty station, you get a new location, try to research that area. Where are you going to be working? If you have children, where do you want them in school? Things like that. Getting to know the area and where you want to be, try to refine that. One of the first things I do when my husband comes home, all right, we got orders. First thing I do is I go look up the BAH, and I want to know exactly how much we're getting for our basic housing allowance and what that will give me in that community, and that will really help me as far as looking at the inventory. Can I buy? Can I rent? What can I get? We have our check boxes of this is how many bedrooms I need an office. What can I get? And then looking at the market as well, really help refining what is the best and most advantageous route for you, for your family at that time, based on the cost in the area. So BH and really refining that, I think, would be number one. And number two is really trying to understand the area, which I always utilize realtors in that area to kind of give me the groundwork, because a lot of us are doing this remotely. We don't get the chance to go visit our new duty station before we move, but really trying to use that network that you can in your new area to see what areas you want to focus in on and where you'd like to be.
Yeah. One of the things I think probably our listeners know about, but only about 25% of the people that really live on a military installation, the majority will live off post. So that's always really sort of difficult. For myself, I try to always, I guess as a senior NCO, I always lived on a military installation, especially when I had gotten married. I've gotten married pretty young anyway. So, hey, I know the military family is really a tight group of people. I know my family support groups and everything that goes on there. Did you ever have a mentor, somebody that helped you out as far as, perhaps when you was moving around or going to different places? I know on the military side, you always had an active duty member. Did the spouse have a member? I mean, a sponsor, a mentor?
I think not specifically as to how the active duty service member does receive a mentor, especially, for the gaining duty station. But I do think as a spouse, there have been several, and none that I could never whittle it down to just one or two, but just all the people you meet, they all have useful and unique information that they can give you depending on what you're going through. And I like to think that it also comes back on the other side of, okay, well, now I experience this and I can give back to some of the other spouses that I've learned from. With some of the situations that I may have come across that they have not. But I will say that definitely you hit it right on the head, that we're a very tight-knit community. So whether it be the active duty member, whether it be their spouses, or anyone that you come across during this journey that we go through, everyone has such useful information and experiences that we can learn from. So I never shy away from any sort of advice on going through the different things that we have to face daily.
Yeah, I think there's two things. One, in the States, I think they're probably not as close in the States as far as being tight, but overseas, when you're overseas, Europe, Germany, Korea, wherever, or Guam, wherever you're stationed at, they're always a lot tighter there. Chris, this is going to be tough for you to handle here a little bit, but Michelle just gave us some wonderful advice to our military families. How is Navy Federal Credit Union supporting some of those areas? What are they doing?
That's a great transition to talk about that, and just talk about the mentor and sharing their experiences is something that our loan officers get to do with the members that they work with. And so our loan officers are gaining vast experience, because they're doing this. They're helping these members so frequently, often, that that's a great thing that we want to make sure that the listeners, the viewers of this episode know to get in touch with the professionals that can help with this as well. Now, one other thing that Navy Federal Credit Union is taking as a very high priority is our member education. And so we have a lot of financial readiness, financial wellness type curriculum that we're offering. And there's some very specific for home buyers or mortgage financing in general as well. So it's more than just purchasing. But obviously, we're talking about home buying here, so I'll stick with that now. We offered the member education virtually, meaning you can log on and take these virtual. They're live though, so that it would be just like you're seeing now, live and in person. That you can take a virtual education course. You can take some of these sessions in our bank branches, and you can also occasionally see these where we're partnered with the local USO. On occasion, we're invited to bring our curriculum on base and teach it on base. One of the things that I would tell your audience is, if you're part of one of those veterans organizations and would like to partner with us and have us bring in our education curriculum to us, let us know. And so reach out to me or reach out to Navy Federal and say, how can we get involved with the education curriculum? I'm sure I'll share my contact information before we get to the end of this session as well. Any individual that was looking to determine what financial readiness courses that they would want to take can log into the Navy Federal webpage, navyfederal.org, and they can look for our events page. And that events page is going to give them a lot of offerings that they can do for our member education. And I certainly highly recommend that as one of the steps to begin the mortgage, the house hunting process.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, something just popped up when you was talking about when both of you was talking. What's the percentage of retirees or people that served in the military that work in Navy? I'm sure it's a pretty large number of people that have served in the military that work in the Navy Federal Credit Union. You probably don't have the percentage, but is there quite a few? I guess.
There is quite a few. I know that we target and we work with several organizations to find transitioning service members as well as military spouses. Yeah. If there are those military spouses that are looking for employment, what a great opportunity! And Michelle sitting right here beside me is a great example of that. Who took her I'll let her tell, but her story is one that she started here in Pensacola. And then took her job on the road.
Yes, definitely. Military spouses. I started here. We transitioned here maybe about 6 months prior. And all of a sudden, Navy Federal found me. I had given up. I'm like, okay, well, I need to stay at home with the kids for the next 2-3 years. I couldn't find a job. I just come from San Diego, in a much higher population area, a lot of more businesses. And we kind of had that conversation. Okay, I'll stay at home for the next 2-3 years while we're here. Well, Navy Federal, a headhunter had reached out. Hey, we found your resume. You interested in coming in for an interview? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's great. I really wanted to get back in. And like Chris said, I was here for only about 2 years, and my husband got orders again. And the one thing that was amazing about Navy Federal is they never hesitated to work with me. I spoke to my leadership. I told them how much I love my job. I don't want to leave my job. But military spouses, guess what? If it's PCS orders that you're going on, chances are we have a base we have a branch by your base. Or if not, my leadership has always been very supportive in trying to find ways to make it work. If I was not going to be in the office here where we're at in Pensacola, how can we make this work? Whether it be telecommuting and things like that. So extremely grateful for Navy Federal, because out of any other employer, we are one of the biggest ones that can really understand what our military go through, and the different life changes that we're constantly experiencing.
Again, you make me think about a bunch of stuff. Michelle and Chris both I don't know if I ever made any decisions in my family, especially when I was deployed. I mean, because my wife made all the decisions, whether or not we was going to buy a home or whether or not we had another checking account. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. So, military spouses, I think, are the unsung heroes of the military, because they do a lot of stuff that really people just don't know about. And so I just from this old soldier to a Marine, but that's okay. But I thank you for what you do and what you continue to do. This is such a great conversation. Hold that thought. Don't you guys go anywhere. I got to do a little homework right here real quick. We're talking with Chris Davis, Assistant Vice President of Field Mortgage, and Michelle Robinson, Supervisor of Mortgage Origination from the Navy Federal Credit Union. And you're watching Your Next Mission video podcast with me, your host, Jack L. Tilley. I always like to say this, 12th Sergeant Major Army. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this discussion, and I know that you are, please like us. Click on that subscribe button below. Also, click on the bell next to the subscribe button to receive notifications of all of our upcoming video podcasts. You probably like them. Michelle, so many young people struggle in PCS. And how did you handle those early days? And what advice would you give those that are experiencing a PCS for the first time?
I would truly say, don't be afraid to ask for help. And as a military spouse, I know that is easier said than done. We do get used to doing it on our own. We don't typically have family close by. But being able to ask, like we mentioned earlier, even just some of the people you come across, a lot of us know that are listening, your military friends, they become family. So whether that be, can you help me while I do all my transitional steps? But using your resources as best you can. And me, I'm a big advocate of lists. So like I said earlier, as far as, okay, what are we looking to do? Are we looking to go on the base? Are we looking to rent? Are we looking to buy? Really trying to figure out not only the immediate benefit to your family, but what's the potential long-term. I think a lot of military and their spouses, they're apprehensive to purchase a home when they PCS, because we do know it's short-lived, typically 2 to 3 years, give or take. But really talking to those professionals in the area, biggest thing I could stress is don't be scared to consider buying a home, because it could really be a long-term investment. A lot of veterans don't realize you can use your VA loan more than once. So we hear that a lot. Well, I'm saving that for when I get out, or when I find my forever home. But I'd highly recommend just considering that you can rent out your house after you leave. That is an option. Talking to some real estate professionals and kind of seeing where the market's at. How much is your mortgage going to be? How much could you rent it out for? Maybe what has the market done in the last 5 to 10 years? Maybe what's the most that this home is sold for that you're looking at? What's the least? And what can you do? And as far as potentially facing that resale, in 3 to 5 years, and that may also be another option. But I would really stress just the importance of being open to your options. I like to share My husband and I, the first time we bought a home, I was 19 or 20, and he just kept saying, we're going to be homeless. We're not going to afford this. And I remember just over and over again, but that became one of the best decisions we ever did. We PCS to Pensacola, and we hung on to the house for about 4 or 5 years, and rented it out, and we were very fortunate. We didn't have to come out of pocket for anything. We basically paid our mortgage and had a little bit extra for the property management, but we hung on to that house to where the market shifted, so when we sold it, we were able to sell it and use that to buy our new house. So I would just say to give all opportunities and possibilities a moment to weigh the good and bad. And there's a lot of times that you won't be hesitant for it.
Yeah. The other thing that's important, I think you got to plan for the future. So don't just think about today, think about 10, 15, 20 years down the road, where you are today, where you want to be down 20 or 30 years down the road. Hey, Chris, you always say the Navy Federal Credit Union gets to help members realize the American dream. I love that already. Don't you have a story about Michelle when I think you talked about it a minute ago, when she was a brand new, employee with the Navy Federal Credit Union, that really sort of illustrates that, I guess, huh?
We have so many stories here at Navy Federal Credit Union. We talk, with the loan officers. They tell me the story, and I go, better than payday. And it's it's one of those things where we get to. What an honor for us to get to work with service members and help them deliver the American dream, just as you said. But one of my favorite stories comes from Michelle. It was a Michelle moment. And it was very, very early on in her career as a loan officer. So this goes back several years. But she was working with this transitioning service member who was looking to purchase a home in Arkansas. And, it's more than the service member, it's the family. She's talking about the family and things along that line. And transitions are tough enough, but, you're starting a new job and some of those other things and leaving the military. And so this service member had some unique challenges in order to meet the qualifying guidelines. And Michelle was patient, worked with him, helped him to realize what steps needed to be taken in order to meet the program guidelines, and saw it through to him and his family being able to purchase this home. And again, that's one of those we get to moments. Let's deliver the American dream. But that's not what made this story so memorable. About a year later, it was almost a year later, this member sent a thank you letter to Michelle. And included with the thank you letter was a photograph. And I'll just describe the photo, but in the photo was his living room. In the living room, you could see the window, the front window near the entry of the home, and you could see an American flag hanging outside through the window. You could also see a folded American flag encased that was on the mantle above the fireplace. And then near the entryway was a coat rack, and there was a trench coat hanging on it and a cowboy hat right on top. And to me, this is Americana. This is what we're here to do. It was a humble home, but just beautiful in all of those ways. And so he sent a picture a year later of his home. On the floor, sitting on the floor in the middle of the living room was a woman, obviously his wife, and there were 2 young kids, and she's reading a book to him. And then alongside this picture, this photograph, came this letter. As best I can recall, the letter said, Dear Michelle, it's been nearly a year since you helped us to get this home. And we just wanted to share how happy we are. This photograph is showing my wife with the kids on their first day of instruction. And it's our 2 kids, soon to be 3. And so here's a member opening up to Michelle, sharing what's going on with the family, and letting us take a part in that. And gosh, I get goosebumps when I tell the story. Yeah. But just how important that is, and the job that we get to do. We get to help deliver that American dream. We get to help shape the lives of our members, and then very often they include us in their thoughts, even a year later. The closing of the letter said, moments are so important, and we could not have had this moment without your help. And oh my goodness, Talk about feeling good about your job. Loan officers like Michelle are doing this each and every day, but it's just amazing to be able to share a story like that she helped in this one instance.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great. I was going to say a little. I'm going to say little things. Things like that have a tremendous impact on the family, and it really makes you feel good because doing the job that you're doing, both of you are doing. You won't know sometimes the impact that you have on the lives of veterans and families. I mean, and that's really nice when people come back and tell you, thank you so much for what you've done for my family. Michelle, Chris, we're going to take a quick break, so don't go anywhere, okay? Stay right there. We got a lot more to talk about, so don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're watching Your Next Mission Video Podcast.
You're watching Your Next Mission Video Podcast, proudly presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, the most trusted credit union owned by members of the military community, serving all branches of the armed forces and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Purdue Global. You're ready for a comeback, and with Purdue Global, you can do more than take classes. You can take charge of your story, of your career, of your life. Earn a degree you can be proud of and get an education employers respect. Start your comeback at PurdueGlobal.edu. USAA.
A promise is a trust not to be broken, whether spoken with an oath or sealed with a pinky. And after 100 years, we're still taking care of the military community and their families. That's our mission, always.
Now back to your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley.
Welcome back. We're blessed to be here today with Chris Davis, Assistant Vice President of Field Mortgage, and Michelle Robinson, Mortgage Origination from the Navy Federal Credit Union. And I want all of our viewers to reach out to me directly. Tell us about your transition. Tell us what topics you'd like us to cover. I always tell people that it's, tell everybody it's not my show, it's our show. So tell us what you want us to talk about. You can call or text me at 844-424-1134. And I'll reach back out to you. Or send me an email at SMA Tilley at yournextmission.org. Michelle, Chris, we're heading into the final segment. This has been great talking to you guys, and I'm so pumped up here. I hope you've enjoyed it just as much as I have. I just have a couple of more questions. Chris, the Navy Federal Credit Union has a network of real estate agents, and I think you talked about them already, that always are there to help and support our service member. Would you, elaborate just a little bit more on that?
Absolutely. We have a program. It's our Navy Federal Realty Plus program. And we've been operating this program for 33 years. There's great benefits to our members that utilize this program in that it will enable us to help them connect with a specially trained and experienced real estate agent. And then in certain areas of the country, also it enables a cashback benefit to them as well. But I want to talk even bigger than that, because that's just a piece. We work with all realtors and all builders all over the country. And we certainly know that, when a member is going out to go look and want to buy homes, that they need to work with a real estate agent they can trust, that they feel very, very comfortable with. And so we work with them all, but I want to offer a little bit of guidance on that. If they want our help to connect with the real estate agent, we'll do that. If they're looking on their own, oh goodness, just make sure you work with the specialist. Navy Federal Credit Union is a specialist. We're VA specialists. That's our niche. That's what we do best. I think on the last podcast we talked about, don't go to a steak restaurant if you want to eat fish. And in our case, if you want a VA loan, go to a VA specialist. If you're going to utilize, if you're a military member, work with a realtor that works with the military, that knows the military, that knows the VA program as well. And so work with the specialist. That's the point I want to make.
Well, I think you bring up a valid point here. If you want a new engine, don't tear it apart yourself. Let somebody else that knows what they're doing put it together for you. So, hey, Chris, I don't want to pick on, but can you share some tips of resources that you think would be valuable for somebody transitioning service member and their family? Any tips you got there for them?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So we talked about the member education, and certainly go there. But if you're looking to do something on your own, to get started, maybe before you want to get into some of the live education opportunities, get on the Navy Federal pages on the pages. Now, we were just talking about the real estate agent. We have a page for our real estate agent partners to go to that will provide them some very valuable information. So if you're one of the real estate agents that is a subscriber and watching this podcast, make sure you check out the agent page at NavyFederal.org. For our members, if you want to do some self-service education, get on our member mortgage pages. And on there, you'll see calculators. And the calculators are actually kind of fun to play with and sometimes scary. You put in a price and you get to move the toggle to go, oh, if I want a higher priced home, what is this going to cost me, based on today's interest rate, and consider taxes and insurance and those other things that are factored into the payment. What if I had a down payment? How would that impact what my mortgage payment will be? So the calculators are a lot of things where you can self-source some of what Michelle was telling you about. How do I get a comparable housing payment to my BAH? And so get online, do some of that self-sourced education. But and then when you're ready to do it live, get on our events pages. We offer live education to our real estate agent partners, and we offer that live education to our members as well.
There you go. Hey, Michelle, I know a major focus of the Navy Federal Credit Union is their partnerships with other nonprofits around the country that serve our veterans, especially with information that supports their transition from the military to civilian life. I really got to tell you, I know firsthand because the American Freedom Foundation, AFF, is one of them that you assist, and we're most grateful for what you're doing. Would you talk about that with the nonprofits that you're working with?
Definitely. Championing community is a core value at Navy Federal, and giving back is naturally part of our culture. Our team members, we're not only there to help with financial wellness for all of our members, but we also want to help serve our military community, whether that be doing volunteering for other nonprofits that we can help support military families. But as Chris said earlier, at Navy Federal, our members are the mission. And we know that serving communities around us, whether that be that we're supporting active duty, their families, we're proud to support nonprofit partners like American Freedom Foundation, who share a passion for supporting military communities and aligning our nonprofit partnerships to match the values at Navy Federal. I love it that we stand by our military and our roots embody our corporate culture. So whether that be trying to help transitioning military members, active duty, their families, it will always be one of our greatest focuses and what I love so much about Navy Federal.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nonprofits out there do all they can to help your veterans. And me personally, I want to thank you for all the stuff that you do for not just from the American Freedom Foundation, but really the other nonprofits too. Chris, you talked about a little while ago about the website and phone number. Do you want to share that with the audience? What's the website? So if they want to get in contact with the Navy Federal Credit Union?
So how should anyone and everyone get in contact with Navy Federal Credit Union? Well, they do it. We have a call center. Our call center takes 2 million calls a month. 2 million calls a month. Every one of our members should know the phone number, 888-842-6328. So they're calling 2 million calls a month. In branch, we talked about the 357 branches. Our branches are coming up on 2 million visits per month as well. That again, just huge. But this is how you connect with Navy Federal Credit Union. You can do it through our call center. You can do it through our branch, and obviously you can find us online. NavyFederal.org. We talked about that all throughout today's episode. NavyFederal.org, and from there you can get to the member pages. You can get to the real estate agent page. You can get to rates. You can get to the calculators. You can see all of the other programs and products as well that Navy Federal offers.
Well, first of all, let me say, Michelle, Chris, thank you so much for what you're doing for our veterans and families. I mean, you're making a difference. And just like, sometimes you may not even know the difference that you're making. But I certainly appreciate it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that appreciate what you do each and every day to make their lives better. Any final thoughts? Anything that we missed that you want to cover? Just maybe share with the audience. Michelle, we'll start with you.
I don't think I have any final thoughts. I just wanted to thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure, and best of luck to anyone. Hopefully it helped military either PCSing or separating have a better understanding of just where to start, and hopefully that helps.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you so much. Chris, go ahead. Any final thoughts?
Yes, thank you, SMA Tilley. Thanks for bringing me back and us onto this episode. We both, I think, are just very pleased to have this opportunity to get out in front of your audience and talk about what what brings us great satisfaction on the job. And yes, hopefully what we've shared today will provide some benefit to some of those members in your audience. So again, thank you for letting us do that. I talked earlier about getting in contact with us. I know that you can find me on LinkedIn, and I'd love to hear from anybody that would be interested in finding out more about our member education or how we can help support the veterans groups that they may be a part of and bring in some of those member education opportunities. Or find me on my email. But we're ready, willing, and able to do exactly what it says right there behind us. We serve where you serve.
Yeah, I love that. We serve where you serve, and I think that's it's all in what you just said, right there. We serve. I can't thank you enough for caring. I can't thank you enough for what you're doing. And I would just say, from our point of view, from the American Freedom Foundation, from Your Next Mission, from all of us, thank you for what you do each and every day to make the lives better for our veterans and families. You're certainly making a difference, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Chris Davis and Michelle Robinson from the Navy Federal Credit Union for being with us today. If you can't understand that they care, something's wrong with you. I'm Jack L. Tilley, 12th Sergeant Major of the Army. You've been watching Your Next Mission video podcast, and thank you for watching today. Please visit our website at yournextmission.org and leave me a review. I always say, I hope it's a good review, but if it's a bad one, this has got to be a good one. This is a great show right here today. It's always a great show. You can also visit our nonprofit partners there who can provide you with so many services that will assist you in your transition from the military. Also, please visit our corporate partners and see all the jobs that are available for you. Please know we want to assist you any way we can. I'm always going to say that twice too. Please know we, us, it's a team, it's a family. We want to assist you any way we can. Please follow me on all my social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Rumble. I never thought I'd ever say that stuff. And if you've enjoyed this discussion with Chris and Michelle, and I know that you did, please like us. Click on that subscribe button below. And also, don't forget, click on the bell next to the subscribe button too. Don't forget, we want to hear from you. Please leave me a message or send me a text at 844-424-1134 or send me an email at smatilley@yournextmission.org. Thanks again to Chris Davis and Michelle Robinson from the Navy Federal Credit Union for being with us today. It was just absolutely great having them on the show. And I would just say that if you didn't get out of this discussion, what I hope you got out of it, they care. They want to make your life different. They want to let you, find your dreams or whatever you want to do in life, but they want to help you in anything that they can to make your life better. I tell people all the time, the military really, everybody thinks it's a big organization. It's a small organization. But guess what? We all love each other and we all want to take care of each other. And we want to make everybody successful, just like the Navy Federal Credit Union. They care, and they care not just with their words, with their deeds, each and every day, but the things they're doing for our veterans and family. Again, thanks for watching, and thanks to New Mind Studios, and of course, our presenting sponsors, Navy Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, and USAA. We appreciate all you do for our military. And as always, see you on the high ground. Hooah!
You've been listening to Your Next Mission, brought to you by the American Freedom Foundation. Learn more by visiting yournextmission.org.